This is where I would like to hear from Fahed, working with enterprises on this race towards AI, but because this is what you have identified in us, that there is a race between countries and there is a race between enterprises and companies. And because there is an opportunity where with AI, every whether it's a government or even at individual level, we are investing in AI. We are paying money in order to use AI. Now, this is where the expert can come and tell us, are these enterprises, what are they doing wrong in terms of AI? And if they have a budget, what is the best way how to allocate this budget in AI? Is it in tools? Is it in upskilling humans, frameworks, or it's in all? So from your point of view as a consultant.
Okay, Hatem. So I'd like to take the experience which we have with enterprise and still bring it back to education, because many people don't know that at the start of this journey, when I set up the consultancy, our initial focus during the quiet period when we were developing our frameworks and so on was actually reaching out to education from a philanthropic point of view and saying, look, guys, you really need this, and we are happy to give you completely free sessions. We're happy to do free AI awareness sessions, free AI training, give everything for free for schools. Now we don't have the time for anything. I was in Athens yesterday with the American Chamber of Commerce. After I gave the keynote, representatives from every country approached me and said, we need to bring you to Turkey. We need to bring you to Hungary. We need to bring you to Bulgaria. Now we don't have the time. We don't have the capacity. But when we did, we were offering it for free, and the educational institutes were not interested. So on the one hand, I'm very grateful that countries like the UAE are implementing external policy at a governmental level. When I first read the news that they're mandating AI literacy even for children as young as 4 years old, I was disgusted, to be honest with you, because even my children, despite who I am as an applied AI leader, my children younger than 15, I discourage them from AI. I need them to get their own critical thinking up to a certain level. Now you can have access to the tool. So initially I was disgusted, and I am, to be honest with you, still to some extent disgusted. But what they did do as a result of that policy is get people to start moving. And this is the biggest challenge, is getting people moving. AI at the moment is in its has moved from exponential growth into super exponential growth, and people are still moving at a linear fashion. So that's, in the corporate world, we've got the challenge when you have very large enterprises that feel untouchable, a bit like BlackBerry. For those of you who watch, I think everybody's of a similar age, that we knew Research in Motion, BlackBerry, once upon a time. They were, Canada's biggest company. And eventually they shrunk into virtual irrelevance. I mean, they're still worth a couple of billion, but not like the 61 billion that they were worth once upon a time. And the reason for that was they just didn't feel the pressure. They didn't feel the need to move. And so when you come back now to the educational side, if a school doesn't feel the need to do anything, if teachers don't feel the need to do anything, you will have you'll have slow movement all of the time. Now, to answer your question, that if there is a budget for AI, if every school was to be given a budget for AI, how should that budget be spent? Absolutely, 1,000,000% should be spent in upskilling, first of all, the leadership, and then upskilling the teachers. 1,000,000,000%. Because it's like, today's discussion is about policy and leadership. What's leadership? Leadership is thinking about the people who have chosen to follow you. That's what leadership is. Leadership is about raising the level of the people who follow you so that you as an institution rise. And what's been happening for the last 2.5 years is, with a lot of leadership, I understand, and this is now going back to the corporate world, there are other priorities. There's an inspection that is taking place. There are some grades that need to be improved. There are some squabbles. There's some conflict. There's a whole lot of other priorities. I understand that. I appreciate that. But not at the expense of humanity's greatest transformation, right? So leadership is about raising people. Now, if you don't do that, going back to Zaina when she was asked the question, and also what Enas and Amir what everybody said was that, look, we should not be replacing the humans. But if the humans have not been upskilled, suddenly you end up in a situation where the AI can outperform these humans dramatically. And all you need, unfortunately, all you need is some type of academic research to pop up that proves AI does a better job than teachers. And suddenly all the teachers who are not upskilled are in trouble. And I promise you that will happen. That will happen. And it's the job of every leader to be upskilling their people to be one head ahead of the AI, because AI by itself can outdo a human, but a human with AI outdoes the AI. So absolutely upskilling. And in fact, funnily enough, Hatem, the keynote that I delivered in Greece 2 days ago was that the key to winning with AI is for leaders to put their people first. Even if you have the best AI in the world, if you don't have people to implement it, you know, the latest research is 31% of employees have admitted to sabotaging their AI transformation efforts in their companies. 31%. And so then the next question is, well, what percentage have not admitted to it? We don't know. Over to you, Hatem.
Thank you so much. And I think we do have one outcome of this chat until now, which is for leaders to hear that this is where we have to start, I think, by looking at upskilling humans. And for a period of time, speaking from EdTech perspective, I've been working closely with ministries and with decision makers. And always the notion of we need to pay off on tangible resources was the top priority. And if we look back 5 or 6 years back to the period of COVID and when the digital adoption started to increase and expand, I believe that most of the budget was being paid on infrastructure, was being paid on devices. And I've witnessed that when it comes to training people, this was something that they will learn by themselves. And to be honest, if you look at students' results, and this is the outcome of education, if we look from K-12 perspective, if you look at students' results over the past 4 years in benchmarking exams, they are declining, even though there was a lot of investment coming either from the country level or from enterprise level. And these are the facts, actually. If you look at the numbers and you see the PISA and MAP results and benchmarking exams dropping down, even though the budget for education is becoming at the top priority for governments and enterprises. So this leads us for a question mark and reflect back. And this is, I think, where the industry 5.0 put a human in the middle, because they believe that this is the only way we can upskill. And you mentioned something about research. And this is, again, I will go back to Dr. Zana.